Good morning, everyone. We are continuing here in the words of the Beis Halevi in his beautiful explanation of Avas Yisrael, and we're speaking about this idea of the terrible prohibition that exists when a person not only doesn't fulfill the commandment of the After L'Recha Kamoicha, to love your fellow Jew the way that you love yourself. However, they also harbor hatred in their heart, and then they transgress a prohibition of you're not allowed to hate your brother in your heart. And this, says the Beis Halevi, is ma'averus hagedolos shebaTorah. It's from the worst of all of the averus, of the sins that you can find in the Torah. And we left off yesterday with these words of the Avos the Rabbi Nosson, where he writes, Anshe Sdaim, the people in the city of Sdaim, which was the city that was known for all of its horrific treatment of other people, their selfishness, their stealing, their licentiousness, all the terrible, lowliest things that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to destroy that entire town. And why was it destroyed? Says the Avos the Rabbi Nosson, Mitoch Shayusainin Zeh et Zeh. They hated each other. They couldn't be happy for another Jew. They couldn't feel good about another Jew. They burned with jealousy and greed and anger and hatred inside of them. And they did horrible things to many people. And therefore, even HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they lost out in this world, and they have no portion in the world to come. Now there's a very famous Rashi in the Chumash that speaks about not the Dor HaMabul per se, not the city of Sdaim, but it also speaks about the Dor HaFlaga, which was the generation, which was the ones that built the Tower of Bavel, and they wanted to go and climb up to the top with a big sword in their hand, and so to speak, to fight with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What a ridiculous idea. You're going to build a tower, you're going to go up to the heavens, if you could even build a tower that high, and you're going to fight with the Ribbono Shel Olam, and you think that you're going to kill him, chas v'chalila, to do such a thing? It's an impossibility. Could there be anything more brazen than that in the world, thinking that you're going to take, that a human being is going to take on the master of the universe, the Borei Olam, the creator of the world, the Mashkiach, the one that is running everything and watching over everything and pumping life into every bit and nook and cranny of this existence and creation all of the time? Can a human being of flesh and blood with all of his wicked ways build a tower that's going to go into the heavens, into the skies, and fight against Hashem? It's ridiculous. And yet we know that the only thing that happened in that generation was they were dispersed. They were not killed. They were not banished from the world. They were dispersed. The languages were changed. That was their punishment. They were spread out across the world, across the region. However, Rashi points out there was another generation, known as the Dor HaMabul, which is the generation of the flood. And they were a very selfish generation. They were a generation that was steeped in stealing and the like, and they couldn't get along with one another. And their punishment was the Mabul HaKadosh Baruch Hu came and he brought a flood against the people, and he wiped them out. He didn't want to hear about mankind anymore. He only left Noach and his family to rebuild the world. And so Rashi is bothered. The Dor HaMabul, the generation of the flood, it's true they were doing terrible things, they were selfish, they were bad, they were cruel to each other and the like. All of that is true. And nevertheless, the punishment was total annihilation and destruction. Dor HaFlaga, the generation where they built the tower, that they wanted to go into the heavens to fight against HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is there nothing more brazen and chutzpahdik than that in the world, to do such a thing? It's the exact opposite of Amunah. It's the exact opposite of recognizing Hashem. It's an egregious way in which a human being can behave to the Ribbono Shel Olam. And yet their punishment was not destruction. Their punishment was only to be spread out. And Rashi writes over there the following: although that in the Dor HaFlaga, in the generation where they built the tower, it's true, it was bechutzpah, and it was brazen, and it was not the way that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants things. Nevertheless, they worked together to build that tower. There was achdus, there was unity, one with the other. They had one united cause. It's a crazy cause that they were united for, but they were together. There wasn't strife. There wasn't anger. There wasn't jealousy. They were working as one nation under the umbrella of fighting against Hashem, and therefore the Achdus is something that is so beautiful in the eyes of the Ribbono Shel Olam, He will not destroy them. On the other hand, the Dor Hamabel, the generation of the flood, and like the Beis Halevi is writing over here, so too the people in the city of Sdoim, they were people of hatred. They were people of no achdus, no connection, no unity with each other. They were out to get one another. The jealousy was seething inside the hearts of each and every one of them. And they would put people down and they would hurt others. And they would be rude and cruel and lack chesed one for the other. That, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I cannot tolerate. That already is the exact opposite of what this world was made for. The world was made for achdus and for unity. The world was made for people to be together and to love each other and to care about one another and see what you can do. And if you don't do that, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there is no place for you in this world. And as the Avos, the Rabbi Nosson points out, there's no place for that person in the world to come either. Rachmana litzlan. Have a wonderful day, which is fused with the after l'riecha kamoicha, where you're going to love your fellow Jew the way that you love yourself, and do for them, and don't be chas v'chalila, someone that harbors hatred, resentment, anger, and frustration in their heart for another Jew. Have a wonderful day.